A friend of mine, the other day we were having a discussion. She's the best actually, and she ended up asking me, "So Mosioma, you don't believe in God?" And I was like, "Okay." Now let's say by the grace of God you have gone ahead and won 1 million Kenyan shillings, and you have come to me as your friend, and you want some advice on how you can go ahead and invest that 1 million Kenyan shillings in the stock market. What could be my advice? I am going to share some of the companies which I may end up investing, or I may encourage you to go and invest in. At the same time, what is the argument behind I encouraging you to go and invest in these companies, and some of the things which I'm going to observe in these various companies before I invest in them. So if you believe you will be lucky in a few days from now, and you are probably interested in investing in the stock market, then probably this is the nice video for you, or this is the right video for you. Now, there are a few things which you need to take into consideration. First of all, this is not financial advice. It's I just sharing some of my thoughts when it comes to the stock market. At the same time, if you are going to invest in the stock market, one of the best strategies which you are going to ensure or to use is, first we need to ensure that we don't lose our resources, we don't lose our principal. That is 1 million Kenyan shillings. And one of the best ways which you can avoid losing your resources in the stock market is to invest in those companies which you believe, after you have done your research, that they have a growth potential, and at the same time they are going to preserve your principal. That should be your mindset when you are going to invest in the stock market. So if we have set our mindset right, then we should consider some things. One of the things which I'm going to consider is that a large chunk of that money, of 1 million Kenyan shillings, I am going to invest in large cap stocks. Those stocks which have large cap, those are the companies which I am going to invest in. And some of the companies which are listed in Nairobi Stock Exchange, which have a large market capitalization, are mostly banks, and then we have a few like Safaricom, British American Tobacco, and also East African breweries. Those are the large cap stocks which are listed in Nairobi Stock Exchange. Now, at according to my own portfolio, if I had this 1 million Kenyan shillings, I would invest in these three large cap stocks. The first one being Safaricom. As we all understand, Safaricom is one of those companies which probably has a great potential. Here is one of the things which you really need to understand. There is this kind of an idea where individuals, more especially investors, tend to put their resources in those companies which, if those companies end up failing, then the companies themselves are to be blamed for an investor losing money. I don't want to use that approach when investing in large cap stocks. When it comes to Safaricom, what makes me to invest in Safaricom is that I believe it's one of those companies which has a great potential. Something which I don't like about Safaricom is that it has kind of moved into a large kind of a supermarket. It wants to engage in every activity. It wants to participate in a money market fund. It wants to participate in, we have Riza. It wants to participate in various programs like we have Copper, some other things which are somehow not interesting. But one of the things which I love about Safaricom is that if, for example, they are interested in investing in Ethiopia, if they end up making it there, then I believe it's one of those companies which has a great potential in terms of rewarding its investors. So that's one of the reasons why I would like to invest a large chunk of my resources into Safaricom. And the amount which I'm going to allocate into Safaricom is supposed to be 20% of the 1 million Kenyan shillings, which translates to around 20% of 1 million. It is supposed to be 200,000. So 200,000 I am going to allocate into Safaricom. It's going to be the same case with Cooperative Bank and then British American Tobacco. I am going to invest in these three companies which has a large market capitalization companies in a Robi Stock Exchange, I am going to invest 20% of this 1 million each and in every company, which translates to 200,000 in each of these companies which I've mentioned. One of the reasons why I like Cooperative Bank, it's one of those companies which has a great potential, and I have observed in terms of how they are structured. One of the things which I observed from reading the Beating the Street by Peter Lynch is that, especially if you go to an institution and it has a huge building, and remember, it's not that those individuals who are in that building are intelligent or are more informed. You, as an individual, are one of those individuals who is responsible in funding those buildings. So, this is kind of an approach which I use when it comes to Safaricom, not Safaricom, but Cooperative Bank. And also, you need to realize that Cooperative Bank is has not gone outside Kenya. It's only in Southern Sudan. That's the place which is operating outside Kenya. Despite it making some losses, if it expands to other places in East Africa, then I believe this is one of those companies which has a great potential. In terms of dividends, it has been giving consistently over a long period of time, and there is a great potential in terms of earning per share. So also it's the same case to Safaricom. Safaricom, despite not having that massive growth in terms of dividends, but we need to believe that it has decent amount of assets. It has a great potential in terms of growth. So that's why I'm interested in investing in Safaricom and also Cooperative Bank. When it comes to British American Tobacco, it is one of those institutions which is so great when it comes to giving out the dividends. That's why I decided to allocate 20% of this portfolio to British American Tobacco. And one of the things which you need to like about British American Tobacco, this is one of those institutions which is its main goal is not actually to expand, even though there may be some fluctuations when it comes to revenue. But at the end of the day, this company's main objective is to ensure some efficiency in terms of running its business and the revenue which they are going to generate. And if they have a great margin, profiting margin, then individuals are going to earn dividends and again. Now, British American Tobacco, Cooperative Bank, and then Safaricom, they have taken 60% of the portfolio. That's around 600,000 Kenyan shillings. Now we are remaining with 400,000 Kenyan shillings. The 400,000, I am going to allocate another 30% to three remaining companies. That is KPLC, Kengen, and then Capacide. Capacide is one of those institutions I am so amazed about. Capacity in terms of dividends, it has been giving dividends for the last 5 years. In terms of revenue, its revenue has been growing in a great manner. So for those individuals who are not agreeing with my own thoughts and my own argument, I like your thoughts in the comment section. So I'll go for Capacity because of that main reason. In terms of revenue, they have been excellent. Also in terms of giving out the dividends, they have been excellent, which shows that the management is actually interested in ensuring that investments which have been offered by their investors are used or are utilized into the maximum. When it comes to KPLC, it's one of those stocks which is kind of a hot stock at the moment. But if you go deeper, there are some things which you are going to realize that as one of those individuals who normally travel on a regular basis within my local area, one of the things which I've observed about KPLC is that it is one of those companies currently, according to my own observation, it is actually participating in a lot of development. Can I say development or expansion? I believe expansion is the right term. So they are involved in a lot of expansion. And also this is one of those institutions which it cannot, a country cannot work without it. In terms of electricity, individuals are interested in actually using a lot of electricity, more especially nowadays when we are kind of kind of trying to embrace electric cars. And also individuals who want to be connected to the main, how do we call this term, main line, whichever term which you are going to say. So to the grid, yeah, as most individuals are interested to be connected to the grid, I do seriously believe that KPLC is one of those companies which has a great potential, and also its services will not expire or will not get outdated with time. So I am going for KPLC, KenGen, and KenGen it's because it's one of those institutions. It has a massive asset. It has been giving revenue, not revenue, but dividends, I believe, for some time now. And at the same time, it has a growth potential in that if individuals are going to be excited about this company, then we will see that in terms of capital gains, it has a great potential. So that's why I have said 10% in each of these company is going to be a great investment. Finally, we are going to discuss two companies which have decided to allocate 5% in these all companies. That is, one is HF Group, the stock code, I believe that is the name, or I've misquoted the name, HFCK, and also we have Kenya Re. In these two companies, we are going to allocate 5% of that amount, which translates, first of all, we need to, about Carbasite, KenGen, and KPLC, we are supposed to allocate 100,000 each in every company. And then HFC Group and Kenya Re, we are supposed to allocate 50,000 Kenyan shillings. And it adds up to a total of around 50, of around one, not of around, but of 1 million Kenyan shillings. So why am I investing 50,000 Kenyan shillings in Kenya Re and 50,000 Kenyan shillings in HF Group? Let me first start with HF Group. HF Group, it's in the banking sector, and it's one of those institutions or a company which was listed in Nairobi Stock Exchange, which has been undergoing tough, tough times in the recent past. But if you are going to observe, like the past 3 years, it has shown a great potential in terms of growth. It has improved in terms of revenue, and also it has started making some profits. At the same time, earning per share, it's one of those institutions which shows a great potential. When it comes to Kenya Re in terms of revenue, it is actually sporadic, you can't determine. But if you assess the assets which Kenya Re has, it is one of those institutions. If individuals decide to liquidate this institution, then the assets they are going to sell and make some huge gain. So I don't know in terms of the assets. Anyway, what do they have? Some cars or some cash in place. So those are the things which I considered when it came to Kenya Re and HFC Group. So I believe it is if these two companies, the last two, that is HF Group and Kenya Re, if individuals get a wind of these companies, then they are going to be overexcited and their prices are going to overshoot into space. One of the things which you need to realize that is Kenya Re, even if it has been giving a dividend of 0.15 Kenyan shillings, it's kind of that dividend which it wants to maintain its investors in a zombie mode. But at the end of the day, these are the companies, if the individuals get excited about, they are going to be massive in terms of capital gains. Anyway, what are your thoughts when it comes to how I have allocated the amount of 1 million Kenyan shillings? I like your thoughts in the comment section. See you in my next one.